Welcome back. We're going to get right into the argument for realism, or the argument that the material world exists. Like I said, this is my favorite argument. It has a major premise, a minor premise, and two reasons for the minor premise, and then a conclusion. And I'll go over each point. And I invite your counter arguments if you disagree with it, if you think there's something flawed in this argument. So here, again, I'm getting this from Professor Gangadean's book, Philosophical Foundation. I did not make this up. It's a great argument, though. You should interact with it and see what you think. So here's the, this is a preliminary piece here. Preliminary. It's self-evident that something appears to me. When I look out there, I have an appearance of a world, right? It either is the world or it's an illusion. So the major premise is this. This is the major premise. The cause of what I see, the cause of what appears to me, is either mind or it is matter. So mind is spirit. I'm using those words interchangeably. It's either caused by a mind, my mind, or another mind, perhaps like God or Brahman or the Matrix, or it's matter. And if it's matter, then it's outside of all minds. So here we have two options, mind or matter, okay? The minor premise says the cause of what I see is not mind, so it's ruling out one of those. This is called a disjunctive syllogism. Mind or matter? Not mind, therefore matter. All right, so we'll see that the conclusion is way down here. Therefore, the cause of what I see is matter. And the material world exists, okay? So the cause of what I see is my mind, another mind, or it's outside all minds and really exists. Now, why do we want to say that the cause of what I see is not my mind? Maybe I'm imagining the world. Maybe I am constructing the world. So here's the reason for saying the cause of what I see is not my mind. Here's a sub-argument. It also has a logical form. Let's go through it. If the cause of what I see is my mind, like I'm projecting out there somehow, then I would have total control over what I see next. So if I'm causing all that appears to me, I could control it because I'm the cause of it. If I wanted to see pink elephants dancing on the table, I could do that right now. But guess what? I don't have total control over what I see next. I can't make those pink elephants appear. I can't make the perfect cup of coffee appear. So I am not the cause of what I see. So therefore, the cause of what I see is not my mind. This argument is called modus tollens. It's a valid argument form. Is it sound? So it may be in good form, but are the premises true? Is it true that if the cause of what I see were my mind, I'd have total control over everything that I see? Is it true that I don't have total control over what I see right now? And is it true then that the cause of what I see is not my mind? Now I can anticipate some objections. Maybe you want to say, oh, but if you were aware that you were causing it, then you'd have total control. All right, well, I'm aware of it now. I've been trying to manifest the perfect cup of coffee for about 15 years, and it hasn't happened. And it isn't my doubt that's keeping me from making it happen. I've tried to overcome my doubt. I can actually see that perfect cup of coffee in my mind. I just can't make it where I can drink it. All right, second sub-argument. The cause of what I see is not another mind, like Brahman in Hinduism, like God in Berkeley's idealism, like the Matrix, like the brain in a vat in the philosophical examples. All right, so here's the sub-argument. Sub-argument 2. If the cause of what I see is another mind, then I would have no control over what I see next. So notice we're arguing these two contrary positions, all control or no control. I do have some control over what I see next. So it's not the case that I have no control. I have some control over what I see next. For example, I can intend to look at the ground, and I could look at the ground. So the cause of what I see is not another mind. So I do have some control over what I see next. So the cause of what I see is not another mind. Now I know you're anticipating some counterexamples. Maybe you're saying, yeah, but what about in the Matrix? Maybe they're causing you, they're programming you to think about looking down at the floor and looking down at the floor. Okay, well, if that's the case, then can I stop and pause and think about my intentions? When I intend to look at the floor, and I do look at the floor, are those intentions my own? Can I doubt my own intentions? And if I doubt my own intentions, am I intending to doubt my own intentions? There comes a point where intentions are self-certifying and they can't be doubted. They are my intentions. So intentions are indubitable. You can't doubt your own intentions, because if you doubt it, then you're the one doing the doubting it. So if your intentions are your own and you can't doubt them, then they're not fed in. And we always have the option of thinking critically about what appears to us, what thoughts arise in our mind. And this is the basis of freedom, free will. I can willingly stop and think about what arises in my sensations and in my thinking. So I do have some control over what I see next. So the cause of what I see is not another mind. It would be, if another mind were causing everything I see, it would be like when I go to the movie theater and I can't control what comes on the movie screen next. I'm just a passive observer. Everything's happening to me, in front of me, and I can't interact with it. But right now I can interact with it. I can intend to pick up the pencil and I can pick up the pencil. I interact with the reality that appears to me, and I intend to do that. And my intentions are my own. All right, so then we can come to this big conclusion. Therefore, the cause of what I see is matter, and the material world exists outside of all minds. So remember, we started with the cause of what I see is matter, or it's mind. It's not mind, therefore it's matter. All right, so you might have to go over this argument a few times, think about it, think about the implications, but this is the argument for philosophical realism. I invite you to come up with a counter argument if you think there's something wrong with it, and I invite you to commit to it if you think reason leads you to this conclusion. The cause of what I see is matter, and the material world exists outside of all minds. I also invite you to put this into your long-term memory and engage in conversation with your friends about this. Let's see if we can get realism back on the radar in the minds of people and in the realm of philosophy. Let's get out of this anti-realism stuff. All right, so that's the argument. I will pause here. Next, we're going to talk about being and substance, being and a being, and being and essence.